Hey, what's up expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere.
And I'm Kalie.
And this is our review preview show. Alright, if you guys are new to this show and this channel, this show is really about reviewing and previewing what's been going on in the world of expats everywhere. So we'll talk about the video that we did last week, the video that's coming up, what's trending on the channel, what's trending with expats globally, and then we'll also give some shout outs to you commenters.
But before we get started, don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you get notifications when we post videos.
That's right, let's get started.
Our trending video this week is a video that we did when we were traveling in Fiji. So it's fabulous Fiji and things to do in Fiji. Yeah, we really enjoyed our time there, so we're really happy that people are watching this video and kind of getting an idea of what Fiji is like, because we liked it. We also have another video about Fiji where we drive between Nadi and Suva. So I would definitely recommend that because you can see what that drive looks like. And there doesn't seem to be much out there on the internet, which is why we wanted to put that out there for you.
So true. We are expats everywhere. We do some travel videos, but our main focus is the expat life. Now, we do want to dig into the expat life in Fiji since that's trending right now. Our video that is trending is a travel video, but we wanted to dig in on the expat life, and we went into the internet to just try to find some articles to bring forward to you guys. And one thing that I want to talk about is how being a tourist somewhere is very different than actually becoming an expat there. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. I mean, tourism is very short and you definitely just hit the highlights. So it's different than an expat when you have to get into things like banking and getting your own apartment and grocery stores. So they are very different.
And even spending a few weeks there as an expat, your first couple of weeks, it's like this honeymoon period. A lot of expats are going to tell you that. There's a honeymoon period to living somewhere and being there only for a couple weeks.
Which we actually met a few people that were doing that on the different islands. They were kind of like digital nomads. And they were there temporarily. They didn't have a visa or a work permit, but you were able to stay there for a certain amount of time. And so they were doing that and working digitally, and they really enjoyed it. But it was still kind of a temporary short-term thing. That's
right. And speaking of visas, there are 3 visas that are offered in Fiji. And this is really like the whole world has this kind of 3 visa offering. One is you get a visa through employment, so you're on a work visa where a company locally has hired you to work there, and then they're going to help you. Generally, they're going to help you out with that visa process. The second is visa by investment, and then the third would be a visa whereby you can sustain yourself financially, and you can prove that you can sustain yourself financially, and you're able to live there.
Now, I would say while we were there, it looks like the Fijians are the ones that are working all the hospitality jobs. So I don't know if that would be an option. They really employ their people to do their different jobs around the islands.
And oftentimes, being a tourist in a place can be absolutely wonderful. And being an expat somewhere and living somewhere a little more long-term, your feelings and sentiment changes. However, on a rare occasion, you can actually become an expat somewhere, and it's actually nicer than being a tourist there. A prime example for me, I think, would be our experience in Busan, South Korea. I wouldn't really recommend Busan for a place for tourism, but it's a fantastic place to live.
Yeah, that's true. Once you get settled in, it's better than if you were just coming through short term.
And we actually broke our own rule when we moved to Singapore. We went to Singapore on a 48-hour trip, and we fell in love with it in the first 24 hours, and we decided that that was going to be our next place to move. And we did it, and there was absolutely no regrets. We stayed there for 4 years. Singapore was phenomenal.
That was actually the first place we had visited before we moved there. So the other places we just went and had never actually been to that city or country.
That's right. Shantae from Shantae.com has an awesome article out there that talks about her first impressions after being in Fiji for 10 days.
As an expat, right?
Yeah, so she moved there as an expat, and she did a really smart thing. She very quickly became friends with locals and other expats so that she could glean something from their experience. Do you think that's a smart idea?
That's a great tip. If you just jump into the culture, people who live there already as expats or locals, then that's very helpful to help you assimilate.
Right, and 10 days in a place can really be like just a bit longer than being there on holiday. But it is also enough time to start to draw some conclusions. But if you're drawing conclusions based on your experience and the experience of people that are living there, now that's a good recipe for success. I highly recommend you guys checking out this article where she goes through her experience of, living normal life, the club scene, food, meeting people, all sorts of different things that she talks about. Now, the caveat is she's only been there 10 days. In her other blogs, she doesn't dive back into that topic or the topic of what life as an expat is like there. She goes into some other things on her website. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to reach out to her and see if she will come on our channel and do an interview for you guys if you are interested in being an expat in Fiji.
Because these are all things that we ask people that we interview because they're very common questions when you move to a country. What can you do for fun, like the bar scene? How much does food cost? What about apartment and utilities? So all good things that we're hopefully will be able to ask her and show you guys.
She has a really intriguing perspective on safety, so I want to ask her if that is still true. You got to check out that article.
Interesting. Let's go ahead and move on to our comments and shout out section.
We had a great dialogue with username Crispy. Crispy, thank you so much for connecting with us on our Helsinki video. As we learned about you, you are Finnish, but you've had some experience living abroad. Thank you so much for connecting with us and all your positivity. It's unfortunate that we can't do an interview with you, but we really appreciate you just jumping on there and commenting.
Josh and I did a video about Lake Toba in Sumatra, Indonesia. So thank you, Yusnia Sari, for commenting on that.
Bashara Hamli, thank you so much for the love and support that you left on our review preview video from a couple weeks ago. We really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. You're the best.
And lastly, Shalyan Lal, thanks for commenting on our Fiji video that we're talking about here today.
What'd Shalyan say?
She said, Bula.
Bula!
So thank you for that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Much love. The previous video was me and my business partner James in Singapore. We did a video, and we're doing a video series called Expat Investors. We are diving into the world of investing, and it's more like documentary style. Yeah, check it out.
So far in the series, we had the beginning, which was just a little bit of an intro of what that series would look like. And then the second one, which is the one that we just posted, is about coffee as an investment. So coffee as a commodity and how Josh and James invested in coffee and what they thought about that and if they would recommend it.
Yeah, and then coming up, we'll do some videos on real estate and then also robo-investing.
So be on the lookout for those. Those will probably post once a month or so.
All right, getting into our preview. This week we have a pretty awesome video.
Tell us about it.
2 days ago, I shot an interview with an expat that does consulting. So she does very similar stuff to us. She's been in the game for over 10 years, does a lot of digital nomad work, and she's fascinating. She spent a lot of time in Central and Eastern Europe as well as the Baltic countries, and we did a video on her ranking of the top places to live in that region. So if you're interested in moving to that region, this is a can't miss. You've got to watch this. So much information. It's actually a long video, longer than we normally shoot, but there was just so much information. I mean, hey, she's got 10 plus years of experience, 15 years of experience living abroad, so you've got to check it out.
She was an expat. She helps expats, so her information is really important and really good, especially if you're looking to move to one of these areas.
In a perfect world, I would live in different places during different times of year. So maybe I would spend the summer in Lithuania and the winter in Bulgaria so I could go snowboarding. It does get really hot in parts of Bulgaria during the summer, for example. yeah, I think those are the best times to be there. The shoulder season in Hungary and Czech Republic and Slovakia. I think if you go there during the spring or the fall, if you're living there seasonally and kind of moving between countries, you can get really good weather with higher availability for housing, lower prices, lower rates, less tourists around. And so those are good times to be there.
I had the pleasure of being on her show as well. She has a podcast and then also a YouTube channel. We're going to put the links in the description below. I don't believe our video is out yet, but when it does come out, we'll put it in the descriptions below.
If you haven't seen the community tab on our YouTube channel, make sure you check that out. We want to know what you guys want to see us do. So right now we have a question about our review preview series. So go ahead and vote on that and make sure you're checking back for that one regularly, because we'll change the questions so that we can get content out that's interesting to you. That's all from Expats Everywhere for this week. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Bye.